Hello, welcome to the Parenting Versus podcast.
Podcast.
2 in 2 days. I think we've done that before.
Yeah, well, we're on a roll.
Yeah.
We're trying Coco Vesa. It's an imperial stout by Stone.
Wouldn't it be Zoco Vesa?
I think it's Coco Vesa because it's supposed to be like Mexican hot chocolate inspired.
Excuse me.
But nonetheless, it is Coco-licious.
Yeah, from Stone. I think they're in San Diego. But, yeah, we are creating something. We are creators of something.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean this podcast?
You're thinking like a human?
No, we've done that 3 times. We're done creating that.
So, yeah, I was just thinking about that as I was playing our intro music, which is from Jeff O'Midveron, one of my good buddies from a long time ago, and still to this day.
Jeff said he's going to be in the 505 for Christmas.
Why did he tell you and not me?
Because we're tight.
That's weird.
It's not weird. It's not weird.
Did he text you?
He messaged me. So, Jeff, we will see you very soon.
Jeff doesn't listen.
Oh, he might.
Jeff is busy doing Jeff things.
You don't know him.
I really know him. I do know him.
Well, actually, I do.
But
I really do.
He messaged you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Jeff makes the music for our intro thing, and he's one of the most low-key, like, he's a creator type, introvert, but he just loves to hang out and play sick riffs on his guitar and make music on his computer, but we're not musicians, but we can talk about just random crap. So,
but you have an appreciation for music.
I do have an appreciation for music, and I do own musical instruments, but I just don't play them that often.
Well, what do you play? Why don't you let people know?
I play, the trumpet.
And?
The trumpet and the guitar.
That's more than I play.
And that's it. I can kind of strum a couple chords here and there, and I don't know. I can sit down and try to figure out one of my favorite songs or whatever, and then I can't really read music on the guitar, but I can read music on my trumpet. So.
Well, I feel like you're more musically inclined than you give yourself credit for, honestly.
Well, I don't know. I don't do it that much, but it's fun. So anyway, I was thinking about Jeff and how we're creating something. Like, we don't ever come up here with a plan. We just kind of go with it.
Isn't it, like, amazing, that feeling of creating something? Like, and I know that sounds really cheesy, but it's like anything you do or you create or you make with your hands or comes from your innermost, like, being that you create, there's this amazing sense of, like, just pride in that. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a very satisfying feeling.
Unless it sucks.
Well, but it's not even about the finished product sometimes. Like, sometimes it's just about you being able to create something.
Yeah.
As long as it means something to you and that creative process to you is valuable, it really doesn't matter what the finished product is.
Yeah.
Unless you're, a serial killer.
What if, yeah, I don't know what that has to do with anything, but...
I'm just saying they may feel like they're creating something, but it's not necessarily good.
Right.
Or, if you're in a meth lab somewhere making meth, please don't do that. And don't be proud of yourself.
Well, they can still be proud of whatever they're making.
Meth?
Sure.
Okay, Walter
Chemistry
White.
is hard. But what if you made and you spent lots and lots of time making something, and it turns out, like, most of the people that come encounter with this thing that you made, they think it's terrible. They just think it's awful, and they just can't stop talking about how terrible it is. Would you get offended by that, or?
I think it would depend on the type of person you are. And I also think it would depend on if you wanted credibility or notoriety, because some people get notoriety for really bad things, but they like the attention.
Right.
So,
like, for example, we've made over 100 episodes.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea, honestly.
We've made over 100 episodes. Almost nobody listens to this, I'm
100
sure.
episodes of nonsense.
We do this for ourselves. It'd be funny if, like, nobody listened, like, literally nobody listens. But we're just kind of just doing it.
But it feels good to listen back on it when...
On paper, we have listeners, like, as far as the stats are saying.
Since
like,
when has paper ever mattered?
Well, not on paper, but, like, on...
I'm just kidding.
Like, we are getting downloads, supposedly.
That's
like,
terrifying.
two people's phones. But what if those were, like, bots or something? like internet bots and we're actually just kind of talking to ourselves?
Or what if we're contributing to like artificial intelligence and they're learning everything about mankind based on our crappy podcast?
Actually, I heard about that. Like podcasters, what they can do is they can take snippets of your voice and kind of stitch them together to say that make you say like something ridiculous. I don't know. Anyway,
like the lady who is Siri. Did you know about that? I think we talked about that a while ago. Mm-hmm. The lady that does the voice for Siri didn't know what she was doing for Apple when they recorded her voice. They just recorded her saying a bunch of things, and so she thought it was just like a little contract job. And then come to find out, she is Siri, and I guess she was really mad about it.
Probably because they're making probably tons of money off of her, and she's not like getting much of it.
Yeah.
But what were we talking about before that? I thought I had an
Creating
interesting
something?
thought. No.
You know, our daughter keeps looking at this Sports Illustrated magazine and saying "Dada." Can I just show it to you really quick? Hold on. It's hilarious to me. 'Cause
sure.
She does this every day.
Sure.
I know it's weird.
I'm still trying to think about what I was thinking just a few minutes ago. Yeah, so what was I talking about? Creating and stuff like that. Oh, it's a bearded basketball player for the Houston Rockets that you guys might know.
Yeah. She literally goes up to that picture every day and says, "Dada, Dada."
I guess I kind of look like him.
Well, he's got the same hair and the same beard shape
Yeah,
as you.
I wish I could switch basketballs like he does and all that good stuff.
But
But
your daughter thinks you're a Houston Rockets player.
yeah,
So.
cool. Dada.
Yeah. Come here, Juliet.
But anyway, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like creating. So like, what if you spent hours and hours, and maybe even years on like some type of project, like you wrote a book or something, and someone just comes out. No, that's what I was saying. Our podcast, like we've made over 100 episodes, and we spend time doing this. Like it's mostly just fun. It's something that we enjoy doing together. And
I don't feel like it's wasted time, though.
No,
I
it's
feel
not.
like
We're enjoying. We're talking to each other. We're creating something together. Sometimes we get in fights on the podcast, and we decide to publish it, like our last one. Which, if you haven't listened to that one, go ahead. And we have no reviews. Over 100 episodes, but no reviews.
If you happen to like us or hate us,
no, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't care about the reviews.
I don't care either, but I just think it'd be funny to hear what people say.
Yeah.
What is our daughter eating?
Electricity. So what if somebody, like our first review was like a 1-star review, and they're like, it's a 1-star review, and they is she okay?
She's mad because I took her away from electricity. Like I'm such a bad mom.
Take her to PJ Masks. You want to watch? Do you want to hang out with your bro? You can hang out with us. You can be with us, Sweet Pea. So, like, we don't have any reviews. Over 100 episodes, no reviews. But what if our first review was like, man, I hate your voices. You guys are just ignorant and
stupid.
And you should watch your kids. You guys are awful parents, and I hate your dang pictures on your thing and stuff like that. Like, would you be offended?
No. I would say, one, you've obviously taken enough time to look at our life to hate us that much, which says you're paying attention. Mm-hmm. 2, if you think we don't watch our kids, you're 50% right. Just kidding. No, I would say come to our house and hang out and let's have a beer, and you can tell us why you hate us so much.
Man.
And maybe at the end of that beer you won't hate us so much.
The internet is a really great place to hurl insults at people.
Yeah, but it's a little harder when you're sitting at their table, like,
I would like to ask your brother. I would like to see if he's ever had any criticism on his book or anything like that.
Sure.
And I would wonder how he responds to that criticism, because he took a long time to write that book, right?
He did. It was
and
like
Jeff too.
years.
I mean, they're both creators, and they're like our constant shout outs, right? But
that's
anyway.
the thing. I feel like you can hate people, or you can be constructive about what you're saying about their work.
Right. See, this is where I admire you. You're able to get your phone out and take pictures of our daughter as you're talking to me.
I'm a woman.
I cannot do that.
Task.
I cannot do that.
Well, she's putting a Christmas tree on her head, and it's actually kind of cute. She reminds me of a Who from Whoville.
Yeah, she is a little Who. Speaking of the internet and differences between men and women, I was really meaning it's Sunday afternoon right now, and I was really meaning to I was really meaning to read my book today. So you're oohing and ahhing at a picture of her, and
I'm sorry.
And I know you're not listening to
I
me.
am listening to you.
Right now, you're not listening.
I am listening to you.
You're
want
not. What?
Wow.
I just got the death stare.
No, I am listening to you. I'm multitasking, and you don't need to get so angry.
Okay.
You're getting a little bit angry.
No, I'm not.
You
I
wanted to
promise
read
I'm
your
not.
book. I'm hearing you.
So, I was meaning to read my book, but I got distracted on Twitter, and I got stuck on a Twitter thread. And it was a woman who tweeted at the Bad Christian podcast, because I follow them or whatever, and it was this long thread, and there was this long discussion about different things. But the Bad Christian podcast, I guess, is they're having a conference. They call it the Bad Christian Conference or whatever.
Imagine that.
And basically, they're getting some speakers to speak at the thing, like some conference in Nashville or whatever. They're gonna do drinks and kind of like a winter ball, like a party, like a get together.
Fun.
And they're gonna get some bands together. King's Kaleidoscope is gonna play.
Well, that sounds super fun.
It does sound super fun.
And that lady's
but-
just she's a.
But she's a pretty. I mean, I didn't know anything about her, but I kind of looked up at her profile. I guess she identifies as bisexual, and like there was some other lady that was involved in the thread. Both, I believe, are identified as bisexual women.
What does that have to do with?
So they were just kind of saying that they would never go to this conference. They would never speak at this conference because they would be like a marginalized group. And then Matt
Have they ever
Carter,
listened to the Bad Christian?
well, that's what they were saying.
Because
Like the Bad Christian podcast is run by white men, and that white, not just white men, but white straight men. Like they just kept saying over and over, white straight men. Well, this is the thing I was trying to kind of wrap my head around, is like how, like, why is it so bad to be a white straight man? I realize like there's an oppressive group, and that group of people have the power, I guess. Because like if you look at our politicians, like most of our politicians are white straight men. So I don't know.
But you know what? If they're so upset about it, why don't they use that platform to be the voice that they feel is marginalized and to talk out for that group? Because you know the Bad Christian podcast would let them.
Yeah.
So like, is it on them because they are white Christian men? Or is it on you because you are so angry at the fact of like you just want to be angry that you're not willing to be that voice for other people?
Right.
Because I sort of feel like that's a double standard. Like, you can complain all you want.
Yeah.
Keep complaining, but what are you actually doing to fix it? Because you have an opportunity to fix it.
Yeah.
You're just not taking it.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
People are weird.
I was trying to be sensitive to like people's ideas and people's thoughts and trying to figure out like their point of view and be empathetic and all this other stuff. And there's two sides of the story on this thread, and there were basically people, and I feel bad for a little bit for this guy I also follow. His name's Aaron Lunsford. He's a drummer for a band I listen to sometimes.
Yeah.
He's a little bit abrasive, maybe a lot of bit abrasive, and in the discussion he kind of uses sarcasm and he's very kind of blunt with his things, but people got super bent out of shape about it, and I was like, guys, and I don't know, I spent a lot of time just kind of reading through this thread. Like, it was interesting.
Well,
and maybe I can link it on our
whenever
Twitter.
People get upset about somebody else's comment, and I'm guilty of this happened to me last week, but you have to really consider the source. Like, look at the other things that those people say to other people, and is it actually you that they're coming down on, or is it just their character in general? Is that just how they project their thoughts? Because a lot of times we take things super personally, but really it has nothing to do with us. It has a lot to do with other things. There's usually an underlying issue or some underlying beef that this person has, and they're projecting that onto someone.
So what do you mean though? I'm trying to follow you.
Well, obviously those women that made those comments probably have some beef with straight white men because of society.
I think they said in the thread, like, they grew up in the church and they were oppressed as
But the straight white men that oppress them cannot account for all the straight white men in America.
Right.
And that is an ignorant thing to blanket an entire group. And we should know that by now, America. Obviously we don't. But it's like, because one group of people did some damage at one point in your life does not mean that all of those groups are out to do you some damage in your life or oppress you. So I almost feel like it's backwards. Like it's a different type of ignorance to assume that everybody is going to do that.
I also feel like like a group of people who have been oppressed, now they're starting to gain some power, and they're going to do oppressing themselves. You know what I mean?
Explain yourself.
So, white straight men have the power, right? If you look at any city, any state, any politician, most of those politicians that are in power are white. And they're straight, and I don't know why sexuality has to get into this.
Yeah,
like, what does it matter if you're attracted to men and women?
Well,
like,
I
don't know.
Whatever.
I guess it does matter, but I'm trying to wrap my head around these
To
things.
some people, but
Yeah, so they do have power. Like
Right.
this group of people, men who are white, who are straight, they have power, right? And they can get their agenda heard and across.
Well, they have a platform.
And yeah, I guess people, and that term is marginal. That term marginalized and marginalization is kind of thrown around too. And sorry.
The term marginalized is thrown around.
Yeah, sorry, I was distracted by a screen. So I'm trying to figure out like what.
Okay, go ahead.
I lost my train of thought.
You're trying to figure out.
I completely lost my train
This
of thought.
marginalized group of people has a platform, and so what you're trying to figure out is...
I really lost my train of thought. So, I don't know. You want to talk about something else?
Maybe we should just scrap this entire episode, because now I feel like we've hit a wall.
No, I had something and I just lost it. I really did. I think I was talking about... Crap, what was I talking about?
White men in power and marginalized groups, and how white men are
Sorry,
in
I see a shiny screen in front of my face
platform.
and I lose everything.
Wow. The memory of a goldfish, everybody.
Yeah. So, okay, let's get back on track. They were talking about how, I mean, men who are white and they're straight and they're mostly Christian, that they're in power and they're getting their agenda across, while there's people who don't really have much of a voice. So, black people, LGBTQ people, women, like all these people have a voice, like immigrants, but it's not really though. Like, I get that, but I what I don't get is doing the same, like trying to swing the pendulum the other way, and then when you're starting to gain momentum and gain power, which I think some of these groups are gaining power and gaining momentum, they're going to do the same thing to those people who are
quote unquote oppressing them.
Yeah. Now they are the oppressors, and it's kind of switching roles, and we're not there.
That system has never worked, and
Right.
it will not work.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because it's led by ignorance and it's led by anger. And when anything is led by anger, ignorance usually follows. And it's unfortunate because that's not going to change anything. It's just going to force the pendulum back the other direction.
Right. And we're definitely not there.
And we go back and forth and back and forth.
We're not there. White men have power. And I'm seeing a lot of stress on that power system right now with Donald Trump and all of the things that are happening in politics. But
it's so funny with Trump and his tweets and all this stuff. Like, people get so irate, and I'm like, again, consider the source, guys. Mm-hmm. Like, the fact that you're giving it time to be angry is kind of feeding the machine. Like we all know this man is ignorant. We all know this man is like quick-tempered. He has a loose mouth. Like, we know this. Mm-hmm. So why are you surprised or shaken or upset when he says something stupid?
Yeah,
honestly, you should come to expect this. And you shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, about it, because he has set that standard for himself. That's what you should expect from now on.
Well, there's still...
It's not right.
Right.
But don't act so shocked.
There's still a level of shock that just never goes away because he is our president.
Right.
And he is representing, no matter what, he's representing our country.
Well,
he is our president. He is our leader.
I read this article the other day, and it was like, I had to laugh at it because I was just like, this is so just what? Like, so it was Melania, and there was a picture of her hanging ornaments on the White House Christmas trees. Mm-hmm. Because like, apparently that's like a first lady tradition. They all decorate the White House Christmas tree inside the White House.
Okay.
And she was wearing a jacket, like draped over her shoulders. Mm-hmm. So she could only really hang like this. Like her arms could only move so far. Mm-hmm. And people were pissed.
Why?
They were like, she's not actually doing it. That's offensive. How can she decorate a tree like that? Why is she wearing that coat inside the White House? Is that a metaphor for how she's not comfortable there? And I was like, maybe, guys, like, honestly, like, I am not a Trump supporter, but maybe she was just cold. Like, you know, like why are
well,
we
I don't care.
That's
not even.
Like, it doesn't even matter.
To be honest, that is not even worth like the space in my brain to think about. I don't care.
I know, but
there's
there
more
was like
important things out
articles
there
dedicated to this, and I'm
yeah,
like,
there's people who care a lot about like the type of shoes she wears or whatever. Like, I don't know, but
or like Jay-Z and Beyonce, like what they're doing right now, and I'm like, don't care.
I seriously, I give 2 S's about that.
I know, I feel
but I don't know. It's just really interesting that like just going through that Twitter thread and kind of seeing, first of all, how mean people are in general, and I don't think that if they were having this discussion face to face that it would have gotten to like name calling on both ends.
Well, the internet gives everybody a platform.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy to me. And also, I mean, I felt like I wanted to say something in that conversation, that little thread. Mm-hmm. But these people that were going back and forth and discussing to be honest, like I don't feel like I could have kept up with their level of conversation. Well,
and why would you want to? It's a waste of energy and emotion and space for something that they're not going to solve that problem together.
I you get this desire to kind of chime in on the discussion and be a part of the discussion.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It was just interesting to me how things are today with Twitter and the internet, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Our daughter's tired. She's telling me I'm tired, Mom.
You want to put her down? She just got up from a nap.
No, we've got to go to my parents in a minute.
Yeah. It is.
Well, let's do a parenting pause, and we can definitely continue this in a little bit.
In a little bit?
Yeah.
Don't we have to head out to your parents?
Yeah, but we are gonna grab a beer before we go to our event tonight, so we may have some time to finish it up.
Okay.
So parent pause. We'll see you in a minute.
Well, I have to cue the music first. It takes a minute.
We are so not polished in our
No,
attempts.
we aren't. You're like, parenting pause now. And I'm like, wait, I have to cue music and all this other stuff.
Our daughter just put her fingers in my mouth and said, ah, like, nice. Open up. What are you doing? Playing dentist?
All right, we'll be back. Okay, we are back.
There we are.
And we are now in a parking lot.
Our life is super thrilling.
Yeah.
We live a life of
mystery.
Mystery.
And suspense.
Like right now we're in a parking lot.
Yes,
wow.
We are avoiding hunks of plastic and metal and rubber called cars.
Called cars, okay.
And as we speak, I am pulling out my keys to press the button to unlock the doors.
Take it easy on the horn there, pal.
I will not.
I will not.
So
rebel. I will not.
I'm going to be safe and give the mic over to Lindsay so that we can talk just like we normally do in the car.
We are kid-free right now. Mm-hmm. Continuing from earlier today, we have an event to go to. It's a volunteer appreciation dinner, and the theme is plaid. Mm-hmm. So we are wearing plaid. Mm-hmm. But it's a dessert event. I can't talk. It's a dessert event. Yeah, so we had dinner just now at this place called 5 Star Burgers. Shout out 5 Star Burgers in Albuquerque. You are the best.
Yeah.
Fried green chili strips. Do I need to say any more?
And that was
they're so good.
Those wings are delicious, but when you have a full beard, you know, it's hard to eat the wings because the sauce just gets all over. Whoa, look at that moon.
Wow, that's incredible.
That is a beautiful move.
With great beard comes great responsibility. I heard that once. I want you to know that. So
Well,
So we just had a little dinner. They have an amazing happy hour. So
yeah, $3 craft beers, half off on appetizers, like
5-star burgers in Albuquerque. You are amazing. And there's one in Santa Fe
and
also.
Taos too.
And Taos. So if you are in the Albuquerque metro area or in New Mexico in general, ask somebody to point you towards 5-star burgers. You will not be disappointed. It is all local.
They did not pay us to say that.
No, they didn't pay us to say that. But we like to give credit where credit is due. So amazing food, amazing hamburgers, amazing green chili, amazing everything. So check it out if you're in the area. If you're not, I pity you. I pity the fool who does not have a 5-star burger.
Come to New Mexico.
Just for the burgers, guys.
So I had a chance to show you the Twitter thread I was talking about a few minutes ago.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Man, people. I don't know what to think. I'm just going to say that people are very easily kind of thrown off. You know what I mean? Like people just. What's the nice way to say that?
I'm not sure. I'm not typically nice. I usually just say things the way I want to say them. So.
People are very easily offended, and they don't like to get out of their little bubbles. And it's not just Christians that do that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, maybe you want to explain the thread, and people can look at it on their own. If it's
Well, I kind of did before the break, just
okay.
briefly.
You did? Okay, well.
But, yeah, so Matt Carter, who is in a band that I like called Emery from back in the day.
That makes me think of a Missy Elliott song.
Back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Him and another member of Emery, who's his name is Toby Morrell.
Let's go that way.
Oh, oops.
It's all right.
You're right. That's okay. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
Toby Morrell, Matt Carter, and then one of their friends, his name's Joey Svensson, I guess.
Svensson.
They have this podcast called the Bad Christian Podcast, and they're going to do a convention up in January. It's like a get together where they have I guess bands, and they have people who are in the faith community. Like they're going to talk, and it's like a convention sort of deal, like a get together, like a little like it's a big shindig, and they're selling tickets for pretty pricey actually, like not thousands, like
whoa,
it's like $200 or $100 or something.
That is a big difference. Yeah.
And
thousands of dollars.
And anyway, like somebody like called them out on their convention, and they were getting on them for being like white, male, straight, all this other business. And I went through the thread, and it was these two women that kind of, well, one woman called them out, and she tagged another woman, and they just, a discussion followed, and then sides were formed. And this was a Twitter thread where people just...
Lines were drawn,
sides were formed.
enemy flags were raised.
Yes. But, man, here's the thing that made me think about right away. I'm like, I'm happy that my kid's last name is Dominguez, first of all. Because in the future, like, the group of people that are in the crosshairs of everybody are white, male, straight. And it's obvious. But, I don't know, man, it's like a weird thing.
Hold on. To paraphrase, though, the two women that were calling them out, I get why they were calling them out. Okay, I get that point. They had a point to go with. But it really became about these two women sort of wanting to portray themselves as martyrs for a cause. And then the guy that's putting on the convention, his name's Joey?
His name is Matt Carter.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt Carter.
He was very level-headed about it.
Right. Well, he said, I can respect that we have a difference in opinion, or so you say. I would love to invite you to come and speak at this convention, or at least come on the podcast and have a conversation with me. Like, let's talk about this. This would be a really good conversation. And these women just kept saying, like, well, my friends wouldn't like that. Well, because I'm a bisexual woman. And the thing is, like, I get that those are things that you hold dear to you, that identify you, and that you hold on to as your identity. I understand that. But the way they kind of made it out to be was, like, they were not even willing to have a conversation. Mm-hmm. And it was, regardless of whether or not you feel like the white male dominant thing is oppressing you, they're offering to sit and have a conversation with you to understand your point of view better. And these women were like not having it. They just did not want to have a conversation. And to me, that seems a little bit close-minded.
Right.
Like if somebody's giving you a platform and they're saying, hey, you know, we might have a difference of opinion, but maybe we don't. Maybe we have more in common than we think we do, which is what he said. Like, let's talk about it.
Excuse me.
And then you just keep resisting, like, having a conversation to help clarify where you're coming from. To me, that says that you're not willing to have a conversation because you like being defined by your oppression. And maybe that's a jerk thing for me to say. I don't know. But it just kind of seemed like they wanted to hold on to their feelings of oppression more than they wanted to have a clarifying conversation.
Right.
And that was really annoying to me because, I mean, as long as you're being oppressed and you find that to be your identity and you're clinging to that as your identity, what happens if you make peace with the person that you think is oppressing you? Do you have to like re-identify yourself? Do you have to break all those constructs down and become somebody else, or figure things out, or redefine what you think you are or what you know you are? I don't know. It was an interesting thing to see.
Yeah.
It was a little bit angering, actually.
Yeah, and it kind of reminded me just of, this is the internet. This is the life that we have. Like, people discussing points of view on the internet, and you can kind of see like where the power is swinging, because the guys in the Bad Christian Podcast, like, they have to kind of fold to this idea. Otherwise, if they don't, they're looked at,
well, this definition that's been put on them.
Right.
And that's the thing. I mean, the thing that is so amazing to me, that blows my mind, is like, we cannot blame somebody for being born the ethnicity that they are born. That was not something that we all went into with a conscious choice and said, oh, yeah, I think I want to be born white. Yep,
Right.
I think I want to be born Indian. Yeah, I think I'd like to be black. Like, people don't have that choice. And so when you define somebody by that and you say you're oppressing me because you're that,
Right.
to a point that may be true based on experience. However, you have to remember that person did not choose that ethnicity.
Right.
Like,
well, no, I and it goes both ways too.
Right.
Like, you could be born black in the United States, where the chances of you landing a really good job is not as good as somebody who is equally as qualified who is also white. A lot of white people, and maybe I don't know this for sure, but I think a lot of white people might not realize that that's the case. You know what I mean?
Well, they don't, because based on their experience, they've never had that struggle.
Right. But that doesn't mean that we should like put all of the burden on if you happen to be a white guy. Like, there are probably, I mean not probably, there are some really good white men out there who are straight. They're really good white straight men. Like, so what is their responsibility as white straight men? I don't know.
Right. I mean, is it to break down that barrier? Is it to redefine those misconceptions? Is it to acknowledge that that's what's going on? I don't know. But the point is, no matter who you are, if you feel like you're being oppressed by a group or a particular type of person or group or people, you really need to also think about what progress looks like, and not be just defined by your depression as a martyr, or oppression, I'm sorry, as a martyr. It might be really easy to cling to that and to find that in your identity and say, like, this is my cause and I'm going to stand for this, and you can hold on to your anger for so long. But if you really care about justice and social justice and progress, that entitles a conversation.
Yeah. People just do not get along, and it's really sad to see. And I don't know.
Well, Twitter also brings out the stupidity in people, so let's just be honest there. But anyway, we're going to get ready to go to our little plaid event, and it's kind of a choppy episode, kind of a random all over the place episode, but we felt the need to record today, so
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, and
Don't forget your scarf.
I'm not gonna forget our scarf. It's a plaid party.
I know.
Right?
Bring your plaid scarf.
Yeah. You look really good, by the way.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. Oh wait, hang on. I'm just kind of getting some music cued real quick.
All right.
There we go.
Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Also, guys, if you are wondering about our conversations, you want to reach out to us. We have a Twitter handle, which is @parenting_versus_pod. It's parenting vs pod. Our Instagram is @parenting_vs_pod as well, I believe. Parenting versus podcast .blogspot.com. We don't know if anybody's out there. Nobody's ever contacted us. Contact us. All right. I'll talk to you on the next one.